This is a full-fledged Windows computer running Windows Vista, and yet as you can see, it's pretty darn small. Hi, I'm Walt Mossberg, technology columnist for the Wall Street Journal, and this week I reviewed the latest in a new type of Windows computer called the UMPC, Ultra Mobile PC. It's the gadget I was just holding up, the Samsung Q1 Ultra. Now, last year Samsung brought out one of these concoctions, which is a product category cooked up by Microsoft and Intel. And Samsung's first effort last year, called the Q1, was a complete bust, both in my review and much more importantly with consumers. It was too expensive. The screen had much too low resolution to really handle full-blown Windows. It had a bad battery life, and it lacked any kind of keyboard built in, so that even though you could do handwriting and you could control it with a stylus, you really couldn't very easily write emails or enter web addresses. Now Samsung has brought out the improved model, the Q1 Ultra, and it really is a giant improvement. It's still got some limitations. I wouldn't say it's a mainstream product, but it shows that Samsung is serious about this and is trying to fix the problems. The main thing here is that it does have a keyboard, and I'm going to try to show it to you. On both sides of the screen, you see this kind of BlackBerry style thumb typing keyboard. Now it is split, unlike on a BlackBerry or a Trio, and that takes a little getting used to, but it actually worked pretty well. You're not going to write Word documents on this. You're not going to create Excel spreadsheets or PowerPoint presentations, but for email, instant messaging, web surfing, adding that keyboard makes a huge difference. The screen also has a much higher resolution. It's the same size, but it has a much higher resolution. There are now left and right mouse buttons on here, and there weren't incredibly in the first model. It's actually a little lighter and a little smaller than the first one. It only weighs about 1.5 pounds, and it's really about the size and thickness of a thin hardcover book. Now there are still some issues here. Battery life is still pretty weak. In the kind of battery test I typically do with laptops, where I turn off all the power saving software and crank the screen up to full brightness and run Wi-Fi and an endless loop of music, this got about 2 hours. Means that maybe in more normal use you could get about 3 hours. That's not so great. There's an expanded battery that costs extra and adds a little more weight, does about 50% better. Price is also a little lower than the first model. The first model was $1,099. This one is $799, although there are 3 better models that take it all the way up to about $1,500. So my bottom line on this is that while last year's product was unacceptable and this year's product is still not mainstream, if you are a student, if you are a business person who really just doesn't want the weight of even a small laptop and is willing to accept some limitations, this machine is something you should look at. That's all for this week. Take care. This is Walt Mossberg.